You guys want to know a secret?
Call of Duty and Activision think we are stupid. That's how they've been treating their players for the better part of a decade, and honestly, we're sick of it. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 was the final straw for a lot of you, and for good reason. Gamers are sick and tired of wasting their hard-earned money time and time again on the same recycled slop. And after over 20 years of dominating the gaming industry, Call of Duty finally did it. They finally pushed their fans one step too far, and the backlash was instant. But it actually gets even worse than that. Not only did Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launch to the worst user score in franchise history, but the hard data isn't looking so great either. The player count basically just collapsed. And on top of all of that, the AI stuff has players furious too. Did you know that the AI backlash was so bad that a member of US Congress is actually getting involved? This is not just a bad year. This is what it looks like when a multi-billion-dollar franchise gets too greedy and it backfires hard. So today we're going to dive deep to figure out what exactly is going on with Call of Duty Black Ops 7. But first, what's going on, guys? Cheers.
Theo came to say hi. He said you guys should consider leaving a like down below.
Okay, folks, let's jump right in here. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launch numbers fall short of Battlefield 6 on Steam. Although Call of Duty Black Ops 7 managed to get a decent player count on Steam at launch, its peak launch count still fell short of Battlefield 6's 24-hour peak on Valve's platform. As of this writing, the 24-hour peak player count for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 stood at 87,882, or roughly a third of Battlefield 6's 24-hour Steam player total. Let's take a look for ourselves, folks. If we hop over to SteamDB, we can actually see that yesterday's peak, so I'm filming this on Monday, Sunday's peak just barely cracked 100,000 players over on Steam, which is insane. Now I know what you're saying, right? Steam isn't really, it's not the only platform Call of Duty is on. It's actually pretty big on console, and we also have the Battle.net launcher, which maybe some people use for Call of Duty, but like, let's be real, that launcher to me seems like it's synonymous with World of Warcraft and maybe Diablo. So I don't know how many people actually use Battle.net for Call of Duty, but let's just be honest here, folks. This is a damning number over on Steam. Let's see what the article goes on to say. While Activision's latest entry launched over a month after Battlefield 6 went live, Black Ops 7's launch also coincided with a major update to Call of Duty Warzone. I'm gonna be real, guys. Warzone has been carrying Call of Duty since 2019, and it's not even close. That is the main thing that I feel like players talk about when they refer to Call of Duty. Like, Call of Duty and Warzone are almost synonymous at this point, which is really sad because I used to love the multiplayer component. I know it's still pretty popular, but like, it ain't Warzone. Let's just be real, okay? However, the arrival of Black Ops 7 has not exactly gone to plan for Activision, as the game received a mixed player rating on Steam. Oh, it's worse than that. We'll jump into the player ratings in just a second. It's a bloodbath. It's really bad. It's currently sitting at 58% positive reviews. Additionally, Black Ops 7 was review bombed on Steam after players aired their grievances with the game's campaign mode, which requires a consistent internet connection and does not include a pause function. Oh my god, bro, when they announced the Xbox One all the way back in, like, what was it, 2014 or something? Oh my god, November 2013, Jesus Christ. Whenever they announced that the Xbox One was going to be online only, like you would need to have an internet connection at all times, that was like the beginning of the end for Xbox. That announcement is basically what guaranteed that PlayStation was the future of consoles, and here we are over a decade later. Xbox has basically completely collapsed. I've made multiple videos about that, and so Activision saw how awful of a positioning that was for Xbox, and they were like, you know what players want? They want an online only campaign mode. Like, what, how could you possibly arrive at that conclusion? Like, in what world do you arrive at the conclusion that players want an always online internet required campaign? Like, you are Call of Duty, you release a new game every single year. You should be the most tapped into what players want, and here we see an absolute massive fumble here. And apparently that's not even the worst part about Black Ops 7, because I mean, it's just the campaign. People don't really buy Call of Duty for the campaign anymore. But the article goes on to say player complaints were also targeted targeted at Activision's alleged use of AI artwork for Black Ops 7's calling cards. Now this is no longer alleged, this is confirmed. We will talk about that later in the video, okay? But let's take a look over here. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has series low Metacritic user rating. While it does have an 84 critic score on Metacritic, not anymore folks, but we'll get into that in a second, Black Ops 7 is not faring well with its user rating. The reviews, while not all serious, do touch on several notes like the reported use of AI and a disappointing campaign. Now again, we're going to talk more about the AI stuff later in the video, okay, because I do want to share my thoughts on that, and I know lots of people have big feelings about AI in video games, but let's actually pop over to Metacritic here, okay? So Metacritic is now down to an 83 with generally favorable reviews from 18 critics. So this is one of those things where it's like, okay, obviously, you know, this seems like it was review bombed, right? We have over 1,000 user ratings, it's sitting at a 1.9. It seems like it's been review bombed, but you have to ask yourself, how is it possible that these critics could be so far from the player sentiment, right? Like, how can these critics be so wrong? I understand that lots of people are giving it a 0, they're giving it a 1. I get that, right? I understand, but like, if that many people feel so negative about the game, how do these critics have a job? It doesn't make any sense. You're actually so wrong. See, here's the thing, right? When we think about what is the job of a critic, what is the job of a video game journalist or reviewer? The job of these people is to give people insight as to how good or bad a game is, and then people can actually arrive at a purchase decision based off of these reviews, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose of a review, is that a journalist gets their hands on the game, they play it, and then ideally they would give an honest and thoughtful review of that game. When we see the average score is an 83 and the user score is a 1.9, it's like clearly the players of this game are extremely dissatisfied, and yet the journalists are over here saying like, look at this, Tech Radar gives it a 90, so that's a 9 out of 10. Gamers Temple gives it a 92 out of 100. Gaming Trend with a bold 100 out of 100. They gave it a perfect rating. Gaming Trend has never played a better video game in their life. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is the peak of all video games that have ever come out according to Gaming Trend. That is insane, okay? That is actually insane. IGN Italy gives it an 80. IGN's campaign review does show that the game has a 6 out of 10 by Simon Carty. That must mean it's pretty bad, okay? Because IGN is known for giving 7s and 8s like they're handing out Halloween candy. They're just, and you get an 8, and you get an 8, and you get an 8. It's just like, how is every game an 8 out of 10 over at IGN? It makes no sense. But anyway, if IGN is giving it a 6, that means it's actually horrible. But Eurogamer in particular is getting people upset because, as you can see here, shared over on Reddit, Eurogamer gives Black Ops 7 a 60 with zero mention of selling AI slop, but gives 40 to Arc Raiders for using it for voices. Now, if you guys don't know, maybe you're living under a rock, Arc Raiders has been one of the biggest games to launch in 2025. People are saying Arc Raiders should be game of the year. It has gotten constant praise from the community, but let's see for ourselves. All right, let's pop over to Eurogamer, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 review. Let's just control F and see if we can find any mention of artificial. Nope, no mention of artificial intelligence. Let's see AI. Is there any mention of AI at all in this entire review? I mean, surely with everyone complaining about AI in this game, and to be clear, I haven't complained about AI in Call of Duty, and we will talk about the AI stuff in just a minute, okay? But let's scroll through here, and you know, again, this is a pivotal thing that players have a problem with, and not a single mention of AI in the Black Ops 7 review, and we can see that the score is a 3 out of 5 stars. Let's see what they say for Arc Raiders, which actually came out. This review was 4 days prior, okay? The headline says, Arc Raiders review a smartly designed extraction shooter marred by one inexcusable decision. Let's see if they mention artificial intelligence. All right, okay, they don't mention artificial intelligence. Let's see if they mentioned AI. Aha, they mention it multiple times. Like Embark's previous shooter, The Finals, Arc Raiders displays considered design. Also like The Finals, this design is overshadowed by the specter of AI. Did you guys know that the success of Arc Raiders is actually overshadowed by AI? I know that you guys might think Arc Raiders is super popular and everybody loves it, but actually, according to Eurogamer, its success is overshadowed by its use of AI. Can you believe that? I didn't even know that. Arc Raiders uses machine learning algorithms for its arc animations and text-to-speech based performances generated from the voices of real actors. They go on to say Embark's generated generated voice lines are aggressively mediocre and a stain on the experience. While speaking characters are mostly limited to traders, their voices are flat and emotionally blunted, aside from the occasional bizarre inflection that reveals their robotic roots. Embark claims it uses AI voices so the studio can implement ideas quicker, creating new voice lines in hours rather than having to go through the longer process of manual re-recording and therefore rehiring actors. But NPC voices are not central to the experience, so I don't think this argument holds water. Okay, so NPC voices are not central to the experience, and yet you as a reviewer are saying that the use of AI here for the NPC voices is so bad that it ruins your experience. Is that what you meant here? A smartly designed extraction shooter marred by one inexcusable decision. Okay, so how good Arc Raiders was ruined by one inexcusable decision, and that comes in the form of NPC voices that are not central to the experience. I'm sorry, what? These are mutually exclusive things. Either the NPC voices are central to the experience and it's so bad that it ruins Arc Raiders, or NPC voices are not central to the experience and therefore the fact that you use AI for them isn't that big of a deal. It really is mutually exclusive, because if your argument is just AI is in the game therefore it sucks, then it's like, okay, well now you have to apply that to like every single game that comes out at least in the last 2 years. So let's go on to their final review, a 2 out of 5. So Eurogamer thinks that the NPC voice acting being AI generated makes Arc Raiders a 2 out of 5, whereas the Call of Duty calling card AI use is not even mentioned here, and this game gets a 3 out of 5. Okay, and this is what I was saying before, when we look at the critic reviews and we look at the user reviews, and it just seems out of touch, right? It just seems like these reviewers or these critics just don't have their finger on the pulse. They don't know what gamers actually care about here, because there's just no world where Black Ops 7 gets a higher rating than Arc Raiders. I mean, you're really gonna sit there and say hundreds of thousands of people that have played Arc Raiders are just wrong, right? Like they're just wrong. Got it. Okay, let's actually dig a little bit deeper into the AI thing for Black Ops 7, because this is a huge point of contention and I do want to share my thoughts. Activision responds to complaints of AI generated assets in Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Quote, like so many around the world, we use a variety of digital tools, including AI tools. So this is confirmed. They do use AI in Black Ops 7. We've already known this. They've been using AI in previous Call of Duties. This is nothing new. Okay, players have been taking to social media today to complain about images they believe to be AI generated across the game, primarily focusing on calling card images that they claim appear to use Studio Ghibli styling, following a trend of AI Ghibli images from earlier this year. And here you can see, I mean, it's obvious, right? This is obviously AI. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. This looks exactly, I mean, in fact, I know it's AI because I made this thumbnail with AI back in June of 2025. Okay, so 5 months ago I made this thumbnail, and this face right here, that's this guy. This is the AI generated character. Okay, this one and this one are clearly like very generic, very basic AI art. This is clearly the Studio Ghibli trend, right? Which this happened over this summer. This is clear. It's clear as day. This is AI artwork. Do I care? We'll talk about that in just a second, but let's see what IGN goes on to say. In response to this outcry, Activision has issued a statement to a number of outlets, including PC Gamer, that acknowledges the issue, sort of. Here's what they say. All right, they admit to using AI tools, but they say that they use them to empower and support our teams to create the best gaming experiences possible for our players. Our creative process continues to be led by the talented individuals at our studios. Okay, so what they're saying here is that, listen, we used AI, we're cutting some corners. Okay, what we're trying to do is make the best game possible, and if that means we've got to use AI for some of the stuff like calling cards, then we got to use AI. Okay, that's what they're basically saying here. It's worth pointing out that the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 Steam page also includes the following disclaimer, quote, our team uses generative AI tools to help develop some in-game assets, end quote. Not exactly descriptive. Now, apparently this was so bad that a congressman in the United States has seen the backlash for Black Ops 7 and is demanding AI regulation. This was reported on by Kotaku, saying the discovery of AI art in Black Ops 7 is forcing a broader discussion of the issues and some very dumb responses. The scale of the reaction to Activision's implementation reputation of shitty AI art has been so great, in fact, that it's caught the attention of Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, who is now calling for regulation of the gaming industry over the issue. So here we can see they actually quote tweeted Pirate Nation over on Twitter, which is hilarious. We need regulations that prevent companies from using AI to eliminate jobs to extract greater profits. Artists at these companies need to have a say in how AI is deployed. They should share in the profits, and there should be a tax on mass displacement. So people are pissed about AI artwork being in Black Ops 7, but I do want to give you guys my quick thoughts and opinions on this issue before we move on to some of the other problems that really hurt Black Ops 7 in the long run, even worse than AI artwork. Okay, I know AI artwork is the hot button topic here, but there are at least two other things that have completely destroyed Call of Duty's success this year, and I think they are way worse than AI artwork. But I do just want to touch on this topic because it is relevant to me. Okay, and one of the things about being a YouTuber is that, you know, my job would be really easy if I just sat here and told you guys the most popular opinion, right? If I just sat here and just said, hey guys, whatever you think, I think that too, and then we all live happily ever after. But the problem with that strategy is that eventually you guys would realize that I'm being disingenuous. You would realize that I am lying. You would realize that I am just appealing to the popular opinion time and time again, and we've seen tons of content creators do that, and it always eventually the rubber band snaps back and people realize that they're just catering. They are just catering to their base, and they're not actually being genuine, and they're not actually being honest. So I'm going to share with you guys my honest opinion, and hopefully if we disagree, you can at least appreciate the fact that I'm being honest here. Okay, I really don't care that much that they used AI artwork in Black Ops 7. I really don't, right? And here's why. Because first of all, does this affect the jobs of artists in the industry? Absolutely. Is that awful? Absolutely, right? That actually sucks. It's not great. Okay, and to Ro Khanna's point, I do actually think that there should be some form of tax on massive corporations that are using AI to replace jobs entirely. I mean, really, like I just don't know any other solution to this problem. And the reason is because AI is the Pandora's box. Pandora's box has been opened. There's no going back. Okay, the only way that we're going back from here is if there is some massive global fallout that reduces the production of the chips needed to use AI systems. And there's a non-0% chance of that, by the way. Like, that is a very real possibility, because the supply chain for producing these chips is the most intricate supply chain of any product that humanity has ever produced. So one small disruption in the global order and the supply chain is cooked. So that's very possible, but until that actually happens, there's no going back. And to sit here and say that everything that uses AI is bad is simply just, it's not going to do anything. Let's just be real, it's not going to do anything. Okay, because here's the reality. First of all, AI art has gotten really good over the last couple of months, and I know that the meme is like, oh, they can't even generate hands. Are you sure? Are you sure? Have you looked at AI art lately? Not only have images gotten good, videos have gotten good. Have you seen how popular some of these TikToks and YouTube shorts and Instagram reels have gotten? People think this stuff is real. They genuinely do. I get text messages from my mom. Okay, she's in her 60s and she's like, oh my God, is this real? And it's clearly an AI video, right? But my point is that AI is really good at generating artwork, and it's way better than it was even 6 to 12 months ago. So my point is, we're not going back. And realistically, what I think matters more than an AI calling card, I mean, let's be honest, who cares about the calling cards? I never cared about the calling cards. As you guys can tell by my hoodie, okay, I loved Call of Duty back in the day. I kind of quit the franchise in 2020, but I started my original Omniarch YouTube channel to be a Call of Duty YouTuber. Okay, I loved Call of Duty. I've got most of the games on the shelf over here. I skipped a couple because they're not good, but my point is, I just care about the game being fun. That's really all it is. And really, if you ask players, and I think Arc Raiders is the best example of this, do you care about AI being in the game? The answer is, it depends. Is the game fun? Is it a great game? If it is, then people can excuse the use of AI. Now, should they? That's up for debate. I'm not here to argue whether games should use AI or not, okay? But to the extent that it actually results in a much higher quality experience for the players, then most players don't care, or they don't notice, or it's not a big deal. But when you have a game that people already dislike, they think that it is just recycled, reused, it's not innovative, it's not particularly high quality, right? If you take a game like that and then you throw AI in there, well, then they're not going to excuse it. They're not going to be able to look past it. They're going to say, look, not only is the game bad, but they're clearly trying to cut corners in every way possible, right? So for me, is AI art in games or AI voice acting in games, is that the end of the world? world? No, to me it's not. I really, it's not that big of a deal to me. Now again, do we need regulation to tax these companies and use that money to fund all the people that are probably getting laid off from this? Yeah, I think something has to change, obviously, right? I mean, something's gonna have to give, right? We can't just replace every single job in the entire world with AI. It's just that's not gonna work. But to the extent that there's just some AI art in the video game, I personally, I can't care. I'm sorry. And like, look, I use AI art in my thumbnails. I mean, what are we talking about, right? Like, that's not even like the elephant in the room. Like, everyone sees it, everyone knows it, I know it, you know it. Like, I've even admitted to it in this video. Like, and I could sit here and make excuses and be like, okay, well, thumbnails are like, I'm just one guy running this whole show. Okay, I can't afford to pay an artist realistically, and the turnaround time on these videos has to be as fast as possible because we're talking about news. And also, thumbnails aren't really art, they're just disposable. It's just garbage. People watch the video and then they'll never watch it again. I could make all those excuses, right? And some of you guys might agree with me on that. And so you could sit there and say like, okay, well, art is immoral and it's stealing, and so we need to regulate it and we need to ban it altogether. And it's like, okay, well, to the extent that other countries in the world don't ban it and they don't regulate it, then what we will be doing is just handing them the future of humanity on a silver platter. Do you understand? The future of all media, the future of all technology, it will all come from other countries. It will all come from everywhere around the world. We could ban it in the United States if you want, but that just means that the best video games that come out over the next decade are not going to come from the United States. The best movies, the best technology, it's just going to come from the places that don't have those same regulations and rules. So the opinion that AI equals bad, AI needs to be banned, is just, unfortunately, it's just divorced from reality. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, even if I can understand where your moral perspective is coming from. But that's not even the point. The point is that, to me, what matters the most is the entertainment actually there? Is the game a quality product? If it is, AI calling cards, I really couldn't care less, right? I genuinely couldn't, and I'm sorry if that offends you, but that's just my honest thoughts on this. Okay, so hopefully you guys can at least appreciate me being honest with you. But let's move on to a few more things that I think actually are the reason that Call of Duty has collapsed with Black Ops 7. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the marketing push here. Okay, how many of you guys even knew that Black Ops 7 was coming out November 14th? I didn't. As somebody who loved the franchise, the only thing that I saw regarding the marketing campaign for Black Ops 7 was on the side of the Monster Energy can. I saw the Call of Duty thing, right? And every year, this time of year, typically Call of Duty does a promotion with Monster Energy. Okay, and it actually works. Like, a lot of times I have a Pavlovian response to Monster Energy where I drink it for the first time in a few months and I'm like, dang, I wish I was back in the multiplayer lobbies with the boys, right? But what I assumed was like, okay, maybe these cans are just sitting in the bodega from last year, right? Like, I mean, that's totally possible, you know what I mean? I didn't think much of it because I'm so used to seeing Call of Duty on the Monster Energy cans. I didn't actually realize that the brand new game was about to come out, right? But let's take a look at what Variety says here. Black Ops 7 trailer pushes Call of Duty to marketing extremes with fake magazine covers and bogus IPO. Activision has outdone its Black Ops ways with Friday's release of the latest marketing tactic for the upcoming Black Ops 7, which caps off a week of fake news from the Microsoft-owned video game franchise. This was posted all the way back in August. Okay, so apparently they have been marketing this game like crazy since August of 2025. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I'm a 31-year-old man. I am the target demographic for Call of Duty, and I didn't see any of your marketing for this game. How is that possible? It began Monday with a real-world advertising for a fake robotics company called The Guild going up around San Francisco. These posters included a QR code that led to the company's corporate website, where their mission of, quote, tech you can trust, was advertised. Then came the cover stories in Wired and Forbes. Okay, so they marketed the game through online journalism and billboards. I'm sorry, what year is it? I mean, I get what they're going for here, right? Like, they're trying to make it look, they're doing like an ARG type of thing. It's an alternate reality game. They're doing this thing where they try to drum up some sort of like curiosity in the world or in the communities, the local communities, saying like, oh, what is that? Oh my God, what's going on here, right? And then they eventually land on callofduty.com and it's like, oh, okay, it's just the Call of Duty ad, right? Okay, so here's the video that they posted over on Call of Duty's website. It shows some sort of, you know, CEO talking during the sort of IPO of his company, and then they show actual robots walking around New York City. Okay, this is around Times Square, and like, of course they would use Times Square. It's the single most popular spot in basically the entire country. They also show the police and robots walking around Grand Central Terminal. Okay, you could tell I live in New York City, so all of this happened in New York City at some of the biggest landmarks in the entire city, and I didn't even know about it. I didn't hear anything about this. Like, they went through all of this work to do real world marketing, and I, as somebody who lives, I'm over in Queens, okay, 3 miles away. I didn't know any of this happened. So the marketing for Black Ops 7 was abysmal, but probably the worst marketing for Black Ops 7 was Black Ops 6 and Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 4 and all of the games that have come out in the last half of a decade or more, because as you can see here, PC Gamer reported Black Ops 7 has problems, but Call of Duty recognizes where the wind is blowing. The triumphant return of loose skill-based matchmaking and persistent lobbies in the first-person shooter. So what this article is saying is that Call of Duty recognized that the problem with their multiplayer mode was skill-based matchmaking, which, by the way, players have been saying this, bro. They've been talking about how bad skill-based matchmaking is. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm getting triggered because it's happened since probably Advanced Warfare or even farther back than that. Like, skill-based matchmaking was one of the biggest reasons that I quit Call of Duty, because the lobbies were just boring. You are constantly put in lobbies with everyone else who has the same skill as you, and that means that it's a sweat fest the entire time and everyone has a 1 KD. Okay, so how is that fun? The fun of Modern Warfare 2 from back in the day and the fun from the original Black Ops was that you could get into a lobby and sometimes you're just stomping kids. You're going 40 and 6, right? And like, it feels incredible. The dopamine is insane. That's what was so fun about the earlier Call of Duties. And so when you have skill-based matchmaking for the better part of the last decade or more, then what you find is that you have actually just handicapped to one of the single best parts about your multiplayer experience. And the community has been ringing the bell on this year after year after year. Again, it's been a decade. We've been saying this time and time again, and everyone agrees that this is a problem, and somehow every single year it comes back, and it's like they don't care about the game. I can't arrive at any other conclusion other than they just have not cared about the performance of the multiplayer mode. They've simply failed for a decade, and now they are finally realizing that skill-based matchmaking is a big problem, and it's way too late, brother. You are so late. It's not even funny how late you are. It's actually just depressing. Really, it's just depressing. Guess what? People don't care anymore. Why don't they care anymore? Because everyone is playing Arc Raiders and everyone else is playing Battlefield 6. Arc Raiders just set another Steam record for a third weekend in a row, surpassing 481,000 concurrent players despite competition from Call of Duty and Escape from Tarkov. So Black Ops 7 got completely curb stomped by Battlefield 6, and it got curb stomped by Arc Raiders, which is like, that's just a newcomer on the scene. GG, you got wrecked. And it's just sad to see, because again, the peak for Call of Duty was November of 2022 on SteamDB, and it's fallen 80%. We went from 492,000 players to 100,000. That is an 80% reduction from highest peak to latest peak. And it's sad, but really, like, they're just getting what they've had coming to them. Now, just to touch on this final point here, okay, because I know the Call of Duty fanboys are going to be in the comment section below, and they're going to be saying like, hey, look, this is disingenuous. Most players don't play on Steam. They play on console. They play through the BattleNet launcher, which maybe, but let's just be honest with ourselves. If Black Ops 7 broke any sort of relevant record for Call of Duty, or that it blew Battlefield out of the water, or it blew Arc Raiders out of the water, no matter how they could swing it, they could spin the numbers to this, that, or the other thing, don't you think that Call of Duty would have released a statement, a press statement, or just a piece to the public this past weekend for launch weekend? They would have said Call of Duty breaks records for this reason or that reason. Or don't you think they would have said something? Don't you think they would have revealed those numbers? They didn't. Why didn't they do that? Because it didn't happen. Black Ops 7, compared to other games in the industry and compared to its past performance in the franchise, is embarrassingly bad. Okay, it's embarrassingly bad. Now, Black Ops 7 will continue to be an extremely popular game this year, just objectively. I mean, it's Call of Duty. It's got a core fan base still. People are still going to buy it. Holidays coming up, people are going to buy the game for holiday. Black Friday is coming around. Okay, so maybe they'll do a quick discount for the game just a few weeks later. So while 100,000 at peak isn't horrible, when you consider that it is a multi-billion-dollar franchise that has been dominating the shooter industry for over 20 years now, this is not looking good for the franchise. And I honestly think Call of Duty could be done. I actually think Call of Duty's empire just collapsed in the year 2025. And you know what that means, folks? There's going to be more layoffs. They're going to be gutting these these studios, and they're going to have to recalibrate their entire strategy moving forward. They can no longer ignore their players. They can no longer ignore what gamers actually want. They're going to have to take a step back and actually produce a quality game if they want to go back to their heights. Okay, if they actually want to get back to the golden age of Call of Duty, they're not going to be able to keep doing what they're doing. Now, does that mean they will? No, that doesn't mean anything, right? They could keep just releasing slop year after year and just shrink the budget, and just they'll make money either way. That's the Pokemon formula, right? Pokemon does that every single time. They've got a tiny budget, and then the fanboys buy it up every single year without fail. It doesn't even matter, right? So they could go that route as well, and maybe they will. Maybe they just do not have the talent anymore to release a good Call of Duty game. But in my opinion, folks, it looks like the Call of Duty empire has finally collapsed. Guys, if you made it to the end of the video, consider dropping a thumbs up on it. It really helps out the channel a ton, and you might think you're subscribed because you've seen a bunch of my videos, but you're actually not. Just double check down below.